Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into the story of the man who basically built the engine for the entire AI revolution, and maybe more interestingly, why he thinks all our fears about it are just, well, ridiculous.
So, let's talk about NVIDIA. This is a company that in 2024 just exploded to a valuation of over $3 trillion. That puts them right up there with giants like Apple and Microsoft. They are, without a doubt, the undisputed king of the AI hardware revolution. They make the stuff that powers literally everything you're seeing in AI today.
But here's the crazy part. The man at the center of it all, founder and CEO Jensen Huang, has this surprisingly dismissive view of the very technology he unleashed on the world. You've got hundreds of top industry leaders signing statements saying AI risk is on par with like nuclear war, and Huang, he just kind of brushes it all off, says it's no different than a microwave. So what is going on here? What's behind this huge paradox?
Okay, to really get this, we've got to go back, way back. To understand the man, you have to start with his childhood. And it wasn't some cushy Silicon Valley upbringing, not at all. It was somewhere you would never expect for a future tech titan, a tough-as-nails reform school in rural Kentucky.
So Huang's early life was just this whirlwind of constant change. His family had to flee political unrest in Thailand, and his parents made the tough call to send him and his brother to America, all by themselves. But there was a huge misunderstanding. Instead of landing at some fancy prep school, they ended up at a troubled boarding school in one of the absolute poorest counties in the entire country.
And this place, the sheer toughness of it was just something else. The environment was absolutely brutal. Get this, on his very first night, Huang's 17-year-old roommate, who couldn't even read, just lifts up his shirt to show off a whole collection of stab wounds. Talk about a trial by fire.
But here's the thing. This is exactly where Jensen Huang's character was forged. His roommate tells this story about how when bullies tried to throw him off a rope bridge, it almost looked like he was having fun. He fought back, he crushed it in his classes, and he developed this relentless, unstoppable determination that would basically define the rest of his life.
And that same relentless drive, well, it turned out to be absolutely essential when he co-founded NVIDIA back in 1993. The whole idea was famously cooked up at a Denny's, which is kind of perfect, because that's where Huang actually had his first job as a teenager. So, what was the mission? Simple. Build specialized chips to render 3D graphics for the PC gaming market, which was just exploding at the time. The only problem? It was an incredibly crowded field. You had dozens of startups all fighting for a piece of the pie in what everyone started calling the graphics wars. Now, NVIDIA's whole philosophy was radically different from their main rival, a company called 3DFX. See, 3DFX was obsessed with writing perfect, elegant, beautiful code. NVIDIA? They were all about one thing: speed. Their code was a mess. One programmer literally called it cancer. But they didn't care. They shipped new products every 6 months, just relentlessly pushing forward.
And you can guess how that turned out, right? While 3DFX was busy polishing its perfect code, NVIDIA was out there shipping product, capturing the market, and then, the final nail in the coffin, hiring away 3DFX's best engineers. It was a classic case of speed beating perfection, and in the end, NVIDIA was the last one standing. But just as they totally conquered the gaming world, Huang makes this pivot that, to everyone on the outside and even many on the inside, looked completely insane. He was about to bet the entire future of the company on a market that, well, it didn't even exist yet.
See, he had this incredible insight. He realized that his gaming chips, these GPUs, were exceptionally good at a type of computing called parallel computing. Think about it. They were designed to draw millions of pixels on your screen all at once, which really just means they could do millions of simple math problems at the exact same time.
Okay, here's a great way to think about it. A normal computer chip, a CPU, it's like one super fast delivery van. It makes one stop at a time, really fast. It's great for those complex one-after-the-other tasks. A GPU, on the other hand, is like a whole fleet of 1,000 delivery drones. Each one handles a small, simple package, but they're all working at the same time. It's just a totally different way of thinking about computation.
So, what does Huang do? He decides to build a whole software platform called CUDA, specifically to unlock this parallel power for scientists and researchers. He poured billions of dollars into what his own team called a $0 billion market. And they were right. Absolutely no one was asking for this. But here's the absolute masterstroke, the genius move. To fund this insane R&D bet, they built the CUDA capabilities right into their regular gaming chips. So, think about this.
Every single teenager who bought a GeForce card to play a game was completely unknowingly helping to pay for the development of this world-changing supercomputing platform. A platform whose real purpose hadn't even been discovered yet. It's incredible.
And for years, almost a decade, that bet looked like a huge, costly mistake. It seemed pointless. And then 2012 happened. A technological tsunami just hit the world. And thanks to that crazy bet on CUDA, NVIDIA was pretty much the only company that had a boat ready for the flood.
So what happened? A team of researchers at the University of Toronto used two off-the-shelf, consumer-grade NVIDIA gaming cards, yep, the very same ones subsidized by all those gamers, to train a neural network. They called it AlexNet. And when they entered it into an image recognition competition, it didn't just win, it absolutely annihilated the competition. It performed so much better than anything before it that it single-handedly kickstarted the modern AI revolution.
And the progress from there was just exponential. That original training for AlexNet, it took about a week back in 2012. By 2018, just 6 years later, NVIDIA's hardware could do the exact same task in just 18 minutes. That $0 billion bet on parallel computing was paying off in a way that literally no one could have possibly imagined.
And you know who saw this coming? Jensen Huang. He saw it instantly. He fires off this email to the entire company on a Friday night, and he declares that, effectively immediately, they are no longer a graphics company. From that moment on, they were an AI company. Just like that. His $0 billion market had finally arrived. Which, of course, brings us to today. And now, NVIDIA doesn't just sell chips anymore. Oh no, it builds what Huang himself calls AI factories. We're talking about massive supercomputers that are basically refining raw data into pure digital intelligence.
But all this incredible power, it comes with an absolutely incredible appetite for electricity. Each new generation of AI chips consumes exponentially more power. The demand from these new AI factories is already putting a massive strain on the world's power grids, and that is a very real, very tangible consequence of this whole revolution.
And through it all, Huang remains completely defiant. He famously hates science fiction, and he just dismisses all the doomsday scenarios that his peers are so worried about. To him, this isn't some wild sci-fi story. He's just a serious person building serious tools. And frankly, he seems tired of what he sees as these ridiculous, over-the-top conversations about existential risk.
Which brings us right back to where we started, to that central paradox. Is Jensen Huang just a clear-eyed engineer, a pragmatist who simply understands the nuts and bolts of his creation better than anyone else? Or is he a founder so completely captivated by the awesome, world-changing power he's unleashed that he's maybe blind to the potential consequences? The accidental prophet who built tomorrow and is now leaving the rest of us to figure out what the heck to do with it.